There
I'm
you're
back.
back.
What's up, everybody? This is the Transcending Sport podcast with Rob Cruz, your host, and my co-host. I jokingly say co-host, but Rick Pauly's always on here, so we might as well be co-hosts. If we haven't, it's been a while since we've gotten together and made one of these. Everywhere I go, people are, when you having Rick back? You guys got to do another one. You guys got to do another one. So here we are. We're doing another one. And it's the end of the fall season. If you're watching this video, we recorded it about November 17th. It's actually November what? 6th, 17th? Yeah, November
Yeah.
17th. So we're kind of ending fall ball for softball, and we want to kind of just talk about some thoughts and some observations that we've had. Hey, Rick, welcome to the show.
Well, thank you there, Professor Cruz. Great to be here again.
Hmm.
Lots of fun stuff I'm sure to talk about. Like you mentioned, the fall season is winding down. I think there's one more weekend left where the college coaches can be out, and so then all the excitement goes away, and so do the tournaments.
Hmm.
And we eat a little turkey on Thanksgiving, and some kids get a break. Some kids get a break and can rest their tired bodies or arms or
Hmm.
whatever. And some got to go throw their arm off because they're going to go to college camp over the holidays. So
Yep,
it's a tale of two cities there.
sure is. So, what are your thoughts? What's going on in your world? I heard you're going to be speaking at the NFCA convention this December out in Vegas. And
Yeah,
so
yeah.
tell us a little bit about that.
Well, yeah. It'll be a panel, a two-person panel, and Megan Rhodes Smith, the pitching coach at Tennessee, is going to moderate it, and it's
Oh.
Asaya, the foot doctor, and myself. And basically, it's a discussion on, what's your style or what are your techniques? What do you use to try to make a kid to be as good as they can be?
Right.
You know, he's probably got his stuff he likes, and I've got my stuff that I like, and that's kind of the gist of it. I'm going to talk about some of my favorite, you know, numbers, metric
Hmm.
tools. Obviously we're going to talk forward emotional like we always do on these things, right? Okay. But I'll be bringing up stuff like that and how I use it to kind of build on a couple things. One, hate to say it, I'm a little bit old, but I got about 1 million years of experience, so I'm going to build on that. Also, I've got a group that I think you're familiar with because you've spoken to our group. We call ourselves the Pitching Coach Collaboration. And it's about, I don't know, a dozen to 15 of us that get together every Tuesday morning and we do Zoom, just kind of like what we're doing here.
Hmm.
And we share, trade, critique. Um, and I will tell you, it's probably the best thing that a coach could do is to get into a group like that. Uh, our group I think it's special because to be in our group, you can't just sit and just absorb. You have to contribute also. We don't let you in the group if we don't think you're going to contribute.
Yep.
Okay, so it's a two-way street all the way around here. You're going to
Sharing
give and
is
you're going to take. Pardon?
caring. Sharing is caring.
Yeah, yeah. So and it's really neat. Boy, when you have that many people and we're all searching and researching and you're all trying to find the Holy Grail, and we're finding bits and pieces of the Holy Grail, and we share it. And it's kind of like when you do any kind of a brainstorming session, you throw everything at the wall and you see what really sticks, and you throw the other stuff away, and you move on. So
Hmm.
it's a great way to learn. It really is. There's more strength in numbers than there is
Oh
in
yeah,
individuals.
I believe that more than one mind, especially like if you have multiple older minds,
Hmm.
because they've seen so much more things and seen so many possibilities and seen so many seen the more diverse, they can go back and say, okay, I remember as reference points. I remember
Yeah.
back in 19 whatever or 2000 or whatever when I worked with this type same type of kid. I remember that working for her, so I can go ahead and like let's try this because I can go back into my memory database, and that's just the experience of it all. But But I'm curious to know, like, when do you decide, h- h- okay, when do you decide to allow a kid to just pitch because she's getting it done and she's doing well the way she naturally pitches, even though it doesn't fit into whatever biases that you might have as a coach? Because for me, like, I have biases. I have my own personal biases, and I have to
I
keep
do
myself
too.
I have to keep myself in check. Like,
Sure.
because sometimes I'm like, if it doesn't fit into what I think it should look like, I have to remind myself that that has to be okay because maybe she needs to do that. Maybe she needs to move in that way. And
Yeah.
what's the line? Like, when do you say I'm gonna intervene and try to change something here, or we're just gonna I'm just gonna let it ride?
Well, you know what? There's a little bit of a saying, I guess I would use that that's been kind of prevalent in my world and my group's world is, are you trying to make kids efficient or effective? Okay, kids that are effective may not be efficient. Okay, and so are you going to try to make them efficient? And are you, if you do that, do you possibly make them ineffective? I'll give you an example. I've been out doing a bunch of assessments at colleges now. I go out and assess their whole pitching staff, and I do the whole motor preference, the 4D motion, the pitch logic,
Hmm.
and some of my intelligence all hopefully thrown in there together at one time.
Hmm.
Um, had a chance to assess, work with the fastest pitcher in the world. And the one thing I said to her coach was, I do not want to be the person that screws this kid up. Okay.
Right.
I mean, when you look at her and you look at the biases that we have, what a kid needs to look like, she wouldn't check all the boxes, but the kid's pretty effective.
Right.
Okay. So, and I've got one of my own personal students who just was in the whole recruiting wars, which I'm sure we'll talk about. This kid is up in the freak category, good. And to the point where, we do a lesson every 2 weeks, and I probably, for at least a half an hour before the lesson, I have to put together a lesson plan. And I'm thinking, what am I going to show her that she doesn't already know and yet not screw her up? So there's a fine line in there where are you going to keep pushing and your own beliefs, your own stuff, because my kid wouldn't check every box either, but she checks enough of them.
Yep.
So yeah, uh,
So,
I
mm,
I think there's well, I'm going to tell you this one too. I'll
yep.
probably rattle on. You'd be tired of listening to me here.
Now go ahead.
In my whole ventures of assessing college kids and stuff this fall, I've had an opportunity to assess three pitchers that are definitely in the top 10 as far as the fastest throwers in the world. Okay. And when I combined looking at their motor preferences and I combined all the metrics from 4D motion, you would think those three would look pretty similar. They don't look at all alike, other than all three of them are tall. Okay. But if you look at their metrics, one's over on this side of the equation, one's over here, one's sort of middle road, where I would say, yeah, sort of kind of would be my vision of what a pitcher would look like. Well, funny thing, this kid, I used to work with her way back when she was in eighth grade.
Hmm.
So maybe I had some influence on her way back then. And, poor kid got stuck with, what I was trying to
Hmm.
influence on her. But uh, the range is unbelievable. Just if you just only took those three pitchers, and yet, like I say, two of them I know are the top two fastest in the world, and the other one is in the top 10. Okay. And it's really, first of all, it's great to work with kids like that. And what the number one thing they have in common, man, they all want to learn. They all want to get better yet. So I mean,
That's the number one thing they have in
that
common.
makes that makes my job a lot of fun, a lot easier. And I'm sure every coach out there feels the same way about that. If you got a kid who's just driven,
Curious.
It's amazing. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm finding that the players that I work with that are the most curious,
Yeah. Yeah.
you know.
Well, yeah, well, they have the big,
It,
the three-letter word is why.
yeah,
Why would I want to do this? What does this do for me? Why?
right.
How does this make me better? They're all good questions. I,
Mhm.
I don't, none of them, if I just took those three, none of them were saying, well, you big dummy, that doesn't sound right. It's just, I want to know why this is good for me, or why do you want me to try it?
Right.
Okay. And I think that's fabulous.
Yeah, that is.
Yeah.
I agree with that. I feel like this, you know, we're in an age where everybody's looking for the quicker fixes, and a lot of people want uh, a formula for how to get something done. But I try to put my hitters in a situation where I'm going to give you the freedom to move any way you need to move and find the appropriate movement solution to get this task done. And the task could be
Yeah.
hit something hard up the middle, higher than my head, a little bit higher than my head, not too much, but a little bit higher than my head. Or the task would be to hit something really hard to the opposite field gap. And even if it could just be front toss, you know. But yeah, I feel like I'm not telling you how to do it. I need you to find out how you would need to move to do it. And for a lot of players, they're used to having that linear teaching model. Your back elbow goes here, your front elbow goes here, and get through the ball and palm up, palm down, which, you know, 80s, 90s, that was a big thing. 2000s, that's a big thing. It's still going on now. But
Hmm.
now it's more like, okay, you have to be able to be creative and free enough in your movement patterns to figure out how to problem solve that particular pitch at that particular speed for the hard hit ball. Which when they can intuitively do that, and maybe the first five they don't get it right. But then if they figure it out on the sixth, seventh, eighth, ninth, 10th swing, I I believe that they're going to be able to, one, learn it faster, make it more permanent faster because they solved it. And I didn't have to give them a roadmap or GPS directions like to get there.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because so many kids
Well,
want to think they went through it. You know what I mean? Like they want to think they went through it.
I know one of the things that I'll be talking about or mentioning when I'm on that panel discussion at the NFCA is I know that I will talk about motor preferences. I'm pretty big into motor preferences, and I feel there's a ton of value in motor preferences. One of the things that I know I'll be talking about is I use what I think is a toolbox approach.
Hmm.
I got a lot of tools in the toolbox. Motor preferences is one of those. But I do find if I can assess a kid and do a good job with the assessment, and if I can try to get her to move what we would say within her preferences, I would say quite often you will see a little something, and it's measurable. It's measurable with 4D motion, or it's measurable with the radar gun. You'll see how their body moves a little bit differently when they're maybe say when they're driving off the mountain and they weren't in their preference, and now you try to get them to go in their preference. It's more. It should, if you believe motor preferences, it's the way your body wants to move.
Hmm.
And it was the way your body wanted to move the day you were born. It's not because Rick Pauly or Rob Cruz said, "Oh, you got to move this way when you're doing this." And so I'm kind of I'm marrying that along with the 4D motion stuff. I'm
Hmm.
marrying it in with my National Academy of Sports Medicine corrective exercise stuff that I'm into.
Hmm.
Uh, it's kind of like you throw it all in a blender and you hope it comes out and it's a real good
Well,
smoothie when you're all
well,
done.
well, I think whether or not, I think like you said, having more tools in the toolbox as a coach
Hmm.
um, is really important, I believe, right? But I feel like sometimes we have people who just have one tool in the toolbox.
That one,
You
that one
know,
right there. And the
the one
tool
tool.
happens to be,
Hmm.
I'm sure it's the same in your world of hitting, but in
Hmm.
pitching, there's an awful lot of coaches or instructors, this is the way I was taught. This is the way I pitched. This has got to be right because I was pretty good.
And just understand that
And I don't know
everything
if
is not
anything
right.
could be farther from the, it couldn't be farther from the truth. You
Yeah.
know, you get a college pitching staff now, you're going to have 6 or 7 girls, and they are not all going to be identical. If you try to make them all identical, you're probably only going to have 1 or 2 that maybe sort of fit your mold.
That's so true.
And you're going to have 4 or 5 that are going to be in a portal next year.
That's so true. I think what I'm finding
Yeah.
now is a lot of coaches are at the college level, at least the ones that I've had conversations with, are actually looking for certain types of pitchers. So if they have things that they believe in that can get people a pitcher on a specific trajectory from the time they recruit them to freshman year to sophomore, senior year, they're trying to identify, and they're actually bringing them on campus to the visits to do those tests, to do that testing. We want to bring you in and we want to run some tests on your body. I've heard this from multiple schools to see where you're at. Kind of similar to what you're saying with the preference
Wait a
model.
minute, wait a minute. Are they bringing kids in the recruiting process and testing them? Other than, exit velo and, stuff like that, or
Well, they can actually test them by videoing them and
by
doing it
what?
in like do video, and with technology in those videos in a camp format they can. Yeah, it will be legal. They're not
Yeah.
saying you come in, just you come in. No,
Yeah.
you
It
coming
just
in and
happened to
you coming in
happen to
on a
be
camp.
shooting video, and yeah, the
You
video
come
stuff is
yeah.
getting pretty technical now.
Yeah, I mean
You
you
can
could
do
yeah. I
quite
mean
a
you could
bit
do
with it.
you could do body mass and body indexing and all kinds of things right now that you can kind of project, you know, what type of body type this kid is gonna end up having, and be pretty accurate with it nowadays.
Hmm.
They got all kinds of
Hmm.
stuff out there now. But I'm finding that for me, like just on the hitting side of things, um, being at more games and watching some of these things play out in games, and I'm going to reverse engineer hitting perspective through pitching perspective because I believe that, and I can't judge people just on their internet content because I believe that internet content sometimes is just for teaching, and a lot of coaches may or may not put a lot of things on their internet content or the social media content. But what I will say is my content that I put on the internet may not be reflective of what's necessary to have success in the game. And here's why I'm going to say that. Most kids are struggling just to throw a strike. Yet technically, they probably go into some of the best technical people in the country in terms of I can teach you the technique perfectly because I know it A through Z. I can articulate it. I can communicate it effectively. And you can come into me every week for 3, 4 years, and now you're 16 and you're going out in a circle and you can't throw a strike, or you're going out in a circle and you can't get strike one, or you can get strike two, but you can't close, or some
Well, you said
yeah,
it early on. That's why you like going to games. That's where the real person shows up.
and it's not it's
We
not
all love, what we do here in our pitching lane or our hitting cage or whatever, and kids look like, oh my God, they look like, Barry Bonds. You see them in a game, they're not the same person.
so in the fall I prioritized um not getting excited overly happy about your in cage success because your in cage success has very little, sometimes no significance on your in game success. Because hitters, we don't get to hit from 43 feet away as often as pitchers get to pitch from 43 feet away. We're doing T work, we're doing front toss from shorter, we're hitting off machines. That's not real. Like we don't even get to do what we do in a real hitting setting. We're doing everything in a modified hitting session, and then we have to try to bring that modified hitting session to a game with in-game context. Where with pitching, I
Well,
think because you can pitch more from the real distance, I might say it should be easier, right? No?
yeah, well, the thing that's running through my brain when you talk about that stuff is the number of, especially big time colleges with the big budgets, who their third or fourth hire for a coach is a guy that can throw fast pitch pretty fast and throw a strike. And that dude wasn't really hired for his intelligence. He was hired to be a batting practice pitcher. And, then you're getting game like action. And most of these big time men throwers, they actually got to back off a little bit. Otherwise, the girls would never hit it. Okay. But they're getting live the timing of the arm and the release and all the things that are going on around behind the pitcher and
And the spin.
all of that. Yeah.
Speaking of spin,
And a spin.
speaking of spin,
Yeah.
I'm gonna ask you I'm gonna ask you a question. Because here's what I started doing. I've been taking what I've been learning from Rapsodo in terms of spin,
Yeah.
right? And spin direction and things like that. And oftentimes a pitcher they'll say they have three pitches.
Yeah.
You know where I'm going with this. But all three pitches are actually spinning the same way. So,
Not my kids.
but a lot of times though, this is the
I wouldn't
case.
allow them back if that's what they did.
This is the case though.
Yeah, well, I know that.
When I put a kid on Rapsodo, I can see that she's saying I have three pitches, and I'm saying no, you have one pitch. You have three names for them,
Yeah.
but you have one pitch because it's all spinning the same way. So now that I've taken, now that I've seen that, and the technology has showed me that from the hitting standpoint, I'm just telling my hitters I can just watch them. I can just watch them throw live now in either the warm up or by the first inning. I'm bringing my hitters in. I'm like, okay, she got one spin. Every pitch he
So
throws
you're
is gonna
going to
do the
say
same thing.
either, look down or look up or look sideways.
Yes,
Yeah.
and that's
Yeah.
and,
Yeah.
and,
You
and, we,
can,
and
you
we,
can, you can eliminate half the zone almost instantly on a pitcher.
yeah.
Although I'm going to say this, I've been adamant about this with my own kids,
Hmm.
is I am going to drop over dead until you go off to college to make sure you've got something going up and something going down, and then something that's a different speed. So those are three different pitches. I feel like, there's some pretty good hitting guys like you out there that if you know my kid doesn't have a rise ball, oh, you're going to sit down all day long. But the
You
only
can't be in
thing
my
my
lineup
kid has got is a rise ball, you're just going to sit up, or you're going to let that rise ball go out of the zone.
because if she gets an umpire that doesn't not match up with her, she's gonna have a tough time
Yeah,
because she's not gonna be able
yeah.
to make the adjustment to that umpire effectively for a pretty good hitting team. Let's
Okay.
be clear. There aren't even that many good hitting teams. Some of the best hitting teams can't hit. But if you're one speed pitcher, you best believe the worst teams are going to hit you if you're not changing speed.
Hmm.
Speaking of speed, I got something for you. I got a question.
Well, yeah, I got something for you too.
Go ahead.
You're leading me into this, so I get to throw mine out first here, buddy. Um, I um, I often wonder in the whole recruiting scheme of things, what the heck are the college coaches looking at? And I'm going to say this kind of a passion thing. I think too many of them are just enamored with speed, and that's all they're enamored with, or they think that's what makes a kid good. Well, it is certainly one of the components. But if anybody who knew a shred of anything about pitching watched this year's Major League Baseball World Series, they would have seen how important a combination of ball movement, location, speed, and speed variation is. I thought the pitching in that World Series was unbelievable, and I can't even remember the Japanese kid that did so good and came back and threw back-to-back games. 6 pitches. Think about that. And he's the World Series MVP. He didn't just sit back and throw his 96 or 7 mile an hour fastball. I mean, I'm not sure those opposing hitters knew if they were on scratching their butt or winding their watch up there with that guy throwing.
So I'll say this: it's hard for me it's hard for me to compare baseball to softball, especially. But I will say this to your point. Um, they were also throwing complete games.
Because what?
These guys were throwing complete games. They were throwing 9 innings. They were throwing complete games.
Well, the,
They
the
were
Japanese kid was.
they were yeah. This guy threw who throws 9 innings anymore?
Yeah. Yeah.
Like that's
Oh,
not
you're
even
some
heard
kind of a
of.
big stud. If you can go 5 innings as a starter, you're like, you're going to make a lot of money.
So I have actually have kids that are on coaching playing on my teams that they throw 7 all the time. I rarely
Yeah.
see kids that can go 7. I rarely see it. But you got to. I mean,
Yeah.
it's a combination of pitch count, working ahead, being able to get 1 and 2 pitch outs. I think a lot of kids are throwing waste pitches. I don't understand the waste pitch. I think you could be
I don't
competitive.
either.
I don't understand the
I'll never
significance of it.
understand that.
What is a
No.
waste pitch? Oh, 2, nothing good. What do you mean nothing good? You should be competitive on that pitch.
Yeah.
It should be competitive enough to where they would want to chase it, but you're not going to give up a fatty down the middle though.
Yeah. That starts way back in the 10 and under and 12 and under age groups when, you get 2 strikes on a kid. And so the coach motions to the catcher to go in the other batter's box because we're going to throw a waste pitch and fool them on the next pitch.
I
I
don't
don't think
understand
that
why.
even fools a 10-year-old.
I don't understand what that is,
Yeah.
but that's just what it is. But
Yeah.
and you mentioned something about velo earlier. Just a few minutes ago. You said velo wasn't everything, but it is a contributing factor. And what I found is that a lot of good hitting teams have the most trouble against pitchers who were able to spot it, spin it, and change speeds really well. And the
Yeah.
higher velo kids, after you get in the third inning, it's a whole different story with a lot of them because they lose a significant amount of their velocity. Is what I'm seeing. This is what I'm seeing play out as I go watch some of the top, more top what are the top best top pitchers in the country throw. Yeah, you throw hard.
Yeah.
You can throw hard, but is it sustainable over extended amount of innings? And after you don't throw hard anymore, after you go down 3, 4 miles an hour, which is a huge significance, if 67
Oh,
to
it's
60,
big.
67 to 64 is a big drop.
Huge.
Okay, so first inning, yeah, that's nice. But when you come back around to that top of the order again, how have you reinvented yourself for them in their second look? And I think that's where the showcasing in tournament, um, the way they're set up, timed hour and 10 drop dead. You're playing 3 inning games,
Yeah.
4 inning games, if that. I
Yeah.
mean, if it's
I
a
hate
pitcher's
that.
duel, it's a 4 inning game. So I think the format of a lot of these tournament games has had an effect on pitcher stamina. But if you notice, the World Series caliber softball teams at the college level are recruiting kids who play in tournaments where you have to play a full 7 or what is it like an hour
They
and
have a they
45.
have a they all have at least one, if not 2 kids that can go 7 innings strong. Yeah.
And they're not even looking at those kids. Yeah, you can throw 64 for 2 innings. Great, good job.
Hmm.
But you haven't even done it past 5 innings. So you're not even playing on a team that goes to tournaments that do that. So they're just going to
Yeah.
overlook that kid and go to the next kid. You get what I'm saying? Like you have to like if you're, I think there's a certain way. You said what are they looking for in recruiting? There's certain things you have to look for in recruiting if you're competing for national championships every year because that's the goal is to get to the World Series to have a shot at winning a natty for certain level teams. Even if you're at Division 3, the Division 3 people who are going to the World Series, they have to be looking for a certain type of athlete also. And most of them are looking for people who could be D1, but decided they want to be D3. Maybe they're focusing on academics.
Yeah.
And that's how they compete. So I think every level has specific things that, especially the people who are winning at that level, because it's not everybody's winning. But if you notice, it's the same people that are winning.
Mhm.
So their formula says something, whether it's recruiting, player development, culture. And if you add all of the, if you add it all together, the significance of each thing, recruiting, um, culture.
Well,
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
going to throw out one word. You're describing it with 10 words.
Mm-hmm.
It's a program.
Program.
That encompasses everything you're talking about. The people that have a program are consistently the high achievers, the high winners, the ones that make it to the College World Series, or the ones that win the College World Series.
And it doesn't matter where they go. It doesn't matter where they go either, because they're going to win wherever they go.
Yeah, yeah,
Mm-hmm.
yeah. That's well, and kudos usually to the head coach. The head coach understands. Well, we got to hit, and we got to catch, and we got to throw, and we got to pitch. Oh, and once in a while we got to run the bases intelligently too. So they kind of understand the whole game, and then there's all kinds of strategies and what kind of lineup
I
you
think
put
it's
on
got
the
to.
field
So
stuff.
I'll say this. I think it's got to start with recruiting. I've watched. I can't pinpoint it. I can't. I'm not going to sit here and say that I have intel. In some instances, I may have a little bit of intel, but some of these teams who have been really good with the preservation of a team culture or a program, as you would say, you can bring in the wrong kid out of the portal into your program and destroy your entire culture just like that. Just like that. So that's one of the ways that the portal has had a major influence on teams who could be top teams for the last 5 years, and all of a sudden with this portal thing, they haven't figured out how to recruit the new kid. There's a new thing going on right now.
Oh, there sure is.
With with with
Well,
with
that's on
with,
my little list of things
with,
to talk about, Mr. Cruz.
with the entitlement going on, and so here's where, and I don't want to sound like the guy who says back in my day, but
But back in your day,
not even that long ago. Forget my day. 10 years ago, a kid
okay,
had a kid had one batting helmet in their garage. Now most of these kids don't know what it is to be on a team and to be a team player and to be a part of something special, a part of something bigger than
yeah.
them, a part of something that's more important than them. And they have 7, 8, 9, 10 different helmet and bat bags in their garage. Not, I mean, and 10 years ago, you played on one travel team, and the other ones, you hated them and you wanted to beat them. You would never join them because you want to beat them. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
I love my team so much. My goal is to beat them, not join them, ever. I'm just, there's a
Yeah.
competitiveness about it. Like, I want to beat them so bad.
What's really neat is when you listen to like Nick Saban talk about that, and he talks about it from both ways. When he's recruiting kids to come in, yeah, he knows about all their stats and everything, but he's really, really trying to figure out what kind of a person that kid is. And he said when he gets calls when it's draft time for the pros, he said, I never get one question from the pros that say, well, how come the kid didn't start as a freshman? How come they only got, 40 snaps or something? Every one of them is asking, what kind of a person is this person? So there's, you talk team culture, they're all aware of how important it is, or how important it is to not have that bad apple in your cart.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
So
So are you going to talk about the portal here at all? You kind of started heading that direction. You go first. What do you think about the portal?
So,
Now,
so
you look at it from both ways now, or maybe there's three ways to look at it.
I think the portal has affected. So obviously the portal has had stages on how, because the portal is the portal, right? But then on the other side of the portal, on the outside of it, different people are utilizing it and benefiting from it and being hurt by it in different ways. So the high school athlete, let's start with the high school athlete first. The high school athlete is now competing against 20-year-olds.
Yeah,
So I'm 16 and I'm competing against a 20-year-old who was an All-American at a really good school, who's also being recruited by my mid-major school that I want to go to. Because maybe she didn't get it done and she didn't really play as much as she wanted to, but she's a pretty good player. And now she's gonna start to tear down. So now that pushes the mid-major kids down to have to tear down to maybe low mid-major, which is a thing. Right? And
yeah,
then you have D2, they get pushed down. And then I'm sure there are a lot of D1 kids right now. I don't know the stats, but I know for a fact that uh, D1 kids are looking at D2 as transfer opportunities because they just want to play and they just want to enjoy the game. Right. And then now those D2 kids are now tearing down to D3 and so forth. And that's the effect that it's had, that ripple effect of tearing down as a high school player because what the portal has done is it's pushed kids down. Now, what's also affected it, not only has it affected the portal, but the 24 man, the roster caps. The roster caps have also affected portal as well as coaches just over recruiting and saying, I'm going to bring them all in. And if they don't stick, I just want to invite them back.
yeah.
That's happening. So softball is becoming more like how baseball has always been. Very cutthroat, very business. Um,
You got the major leagues and the minor leagues, and softball is kind of becoming that. It's almost P4, and everybody else is part of a minor league system.
so
You're either going to play in the minor leagues for 8 or 9 or 10 years and quit, or a few of you are going to go up to the major leagues.
and I hate the term P4 because I'm not looking at
Yeah,
softball. I'm not looking at softball teams based on how good their football team is. Because I'm sorry, I know your football team is great, but your softball team is not close to being as great as your football team is in the grand scope of football. You know what I'm
sure.
saying? So I look at it like this. Here's my tier system. Hate it or love it. There's the SEC.
You're talking softball.
I'm talking about softball right now.
Yep.
I might be talking about some other sports too, but let's just talk softball.
Yeah. Yeah.
There's the SEC. If you go watch an SEC softball game, it is so much different than the other. I can't put them in the same. I can't call it all P4 because it's not the same. It is not the same. The kids are bigger, stronger, faster. Those ground balls those girls are hitting in the SEC are hitting so hard that if it gets past that second baseman, it can go to the fence.
Oh, yeah.
And no other conferences are hitting the ball hard like that. Those are outs. The speed is different. The arm strength. Look at the arm strength in the outfield. The speed in the outfield in the SEC. It's not even the same softball game we're watching. Not even the same level. It's not. It's not. If you're watching it with an unbiased eyeball, you're like, this is different. It just is. So I believe that it's SEC. Then you have a sort of a P3 situation there. Okay. You
A
have a
what?
P3. You have a P3 situation.
Okay.
P3. If you want to put a P on it and all that stuff. But this is not
Yeah.
football. This is softball. This is what it is. And then after that, you have um, high mid majors and low mid majors. There's a big difference between Drexel and Iona in the mid-major realm than some of the other more competitive mid-majors. There's a huge difference. Huge. And then after that, you got D2, D3. And I bet you in a couple of years, there's going to be some JUCO schools that can beat some D2s and can beat some low D1s. I bet you that's happening already in preseason, yes.
Yeah. When I coached JUCO, we beat every D2 and a few D1s.
There it is.
This is many moons ago.
There it is. I believe that
Yeah.
JUCO, people are looking at JUCO as a level. I don't look at JUCO that way. I look at JUCO as the kids who may or may not have the grades or may not have the money to pay to go to all the showcases that you guys went to, so they didn't get the exposure. I don't look at JUCO as like a worse level of softball. I feel like the people who were able to get the exposure were the best kids who could afford to play it, because softball is still a country club sport. It's not the best players that are playing it. It's the best out of the people who can afford to play it. That's what it is. And because of that, we're not watching the most athletic kids. People can't catch, throw. Defensively, they can't feel the ground. Like, there's a lot of things happening that you're starting to see. The athleticism is tearing down because it's becoming too expensive for the better athletes to even want to play it.
I got to believe the cost is, well, I think it's out of hand. I hear the cost, because
It's a lot.
I'm from the old days where it was still, I thought it was expensive then. It was about um not even a quarter of what it is today. Not even a quarter.
Yeah, my recruiting pool is smaller if I'm only recruiting from the top income kids, family income. And then if you're in the Northeast, it's even worse because you got to fly everywhere. The Southern kids can drive to all the major events. But our whole team, like, if
Yeah.
we have to, if the Northeast teams have to come down to all the best events, that's a flight, a rent a car, and a hotel, and food, and the team expense, and taking off work. And if mom is flying and my little brother's flying, that becomes, maybe we should play basketball. Maybe we should focus on volleyball. Maybe we should focus on, it's just reality.
Do you think it's any different in travel basketball, travel volleyball?
I think
The only thing you don't have to have a great big knapsack on your back.
AAU basketball is different because the top AAU basketball, what's feeding the top programs, is 100% free
Because,
because they're getting sponsored.
yeah, it's not supposed to happen, Rob.
The top softball, wait, so the top softball programs are also, kids are not paying. You think the top softball programs are charging?
I wonder how you answer that then on the
The
NCAA
the
clearinghouse
top, yeah,
uh,
that's another story.
amateurism
That, that's
questions.
that's another story. Top programs are not paying.
Yeah,
Those kids are not paying.
yeah, yeah. Well, um, well, I got to ask you this question.
Yeah.
Hit it from the hitting side. Um, are there any colleges that are really into developing kids, or are they just relying on the portal? Are they
So
relying on some other college to train a kid and then, oh, I'll take them and man, I don't need any coaches because they're already trained. Who's big into development at the upper levels? Who's developing their
I
own
was on
kids
a
versus who's doing the portal trick?
I was on a call today with a Division I school, and the coach was very, very, she wasn't shocked because she knows me for a very long time. She's known me for a very long time.
Back in their pro days.
Before that, like even before that.
Okay. Yeah.
And most people don't know because you only know me from softball, is that before I was coaching softball, I was coaching a lot more baseball. I had baseball teams. I had teams that went from, I took Northeast kids to Georgia to Perfect Game back when you probably didn't even have kids yet. And I've had draft picks. I've had kids that played pro ball, all of that stuff. So development for me has always been something that was important for me to be able to do. And it used to be where if you can develop, you had the right to call yourself coach. If you weren't a coach, then you're a manager. You're good at like putting together teams and making a lineup and getting them out there. But for me,
Well,
I love the practice. I love
yeah.
practice. I love working on things with the outfield, working on angles and working on footwork and getting great jumps. I love working with base runners and cutting the bag the proper way and understanding when to go first or third. I love being able to teach infielders how to make the field smaller and throw from different arm slots and arm angle. That's my passion. I hate games. I'll say it again. I hate the game. I love practice. And I'm from the school of practice is for the coach, the game is for the kids. I don't say one word in the game. Game is theirs. I did my job. If I've done my job, I shouldn't have to say anything in the game. So I take pride in practice. So to answer your question, a lot of coaches will say, I don't like her swing. So wait, you can't teach a swing? The kid can clearly play and hit and is incredibly gifted. So because you don't like her swing, you don't have the ability to get her to your program and teach her how to swing. That says a lot about you and your program. And if I were her, and I don't tell people where to go, but I wouldn't want to go to a school who doesn't even have the ability to help me when I get there. They just throw me on the wall, and if I stick, I stick, and if I don't, they recruit on top of me. But then they expect me to be loyal. Loyalty is a two-way street, and
Well,
this
you
is the
know
problem
what?
with the
I'm
game.
really happy. I'm happy to hear you say all this stuff because we really agree on this.
I mean, I, I'm not even going to call it old school. It's just what's right. This right, and then it's just so. And even with the team that I coach, we take the kids. Like first of all, here's what I don't do. I have never followed a player on another team on Twitter who I don't know. Players have followed me. I don't follow them back if I don't know them. If I train you or I know you, I would follow you. Sometimes I won't even follow you then. I don't go on people's direct messages, teenage girls DMs. What do they call it when you're poaching? Yeah, I don't do that. I've never done it ever, and nor will I ever. But I will take the kids that nobody wanted, the kids that that got rejected, and I promise you, if they work hard, I'll bet on me every time. I'll get them there every time. I don't got to go out stealing all the best players and following them on Twitter and all that stuff. First of all, it's creepy. Two, I won't do it. Three, if they want to be here, if this is what they want, development, being on a real team, being a part of something special that prepares you to be able to be where you belong and still compete, this is for you. And if you want to be on an all-star team with all the kids with the fancy stickers on their helmets who don't know a thing about being on a team, aren't getting developed, so they're going to go into college and sit and be in the portal anyway. Most of those kids they're not getting developed and travel ball, and the coaches are saying we're getting kids that don't know how to play softball, but they're talented. So there's a culture. Now remember, the culture of travel ball is what's feeding the culture of college ball. So if the culture is one way in travel ball, let's just replace the word culture with mindset. If the mindset slash culture in travel ball is one way at the top of the food chain in travel ball, not all travel ball, but the top of the food chain, right? Is one way, and that's the mindset that's feeding college. This portal thing, you haven't even seen the monster called portal. You want to talk about entitlement? You want to talk about crazy psycho parents taking it to another level? You haven't even seen anything yet. Because travel ball is a monster. It is an absolute monster. And there are a few programs in travel ball where true development and teaching actually takes place. And there are a few colleges where true development and teaching actually takes place. A few.
You say few, and I would agree with the word few.
There are a few.
That's what I see from my vision
Yeah.
standpoint. You know,
It's,
I just
I
don't.
can't say that it doesn't exist, but by and
Yeah,
large, it doesn't. But there are a few people who are like, I want to get some gritty kids in here. I'm gonna teach. I wasn't able to compete with the bigger schools to get those kids, but I can get those kids that didn't get what they wanted or what they thought they were. They got overlooked. Hopefully, they got a little chip on their shoulder and they got something to prove. And they want to come in here and they want to roll their sleeves up and they want to go to work. And I'm betting on myself as a coach to be able to teach them and develop them and get them with it and and bring the best out of them. And I think that's, and again, every school's different. You are who you are. And I think the schools that don't develop, they know who they are. That's just not what they do. They're true to who they are, right? If I'm a development person, I'm true to who I am. Because I'd rather have kids that want to be here and kids that I want that are the right kids than have the players that are really, really good, who are infectious to my program, whose parents are in the bleachers, um, tearing my team apart. A lot of teams get torn apart in the bleachers by parents.
sure.
It's not
Yeah,
even
you know
it's not
that.
even kids. It's those
Yeah.
parents in those bleachers talking crap that are the reasons why a lot of teams fall. A lot of them.
Hmm.
And those are just the facts.
Well, we're 1 week away from that happening again, right? As soon as that season's over,
Oh,
as
it's
soon as
already
that
happening.
tournament's over next
It's
weekend.
already happening already. People know they're gone.
Yeah,
And it's fine because it's
yeah,
like you got to do your research. You got to find out who's who,
yeah.
right? Find out, what their history is. Because I'm gonna tell you, if you have the right nucleus of parents in your bleachers, those new people that are coming in with all the drama, they won't even feel comfortable. They'll be gone in a half a season because your parents will be the guardians, and they won't fit in. They
Mm.
won't fit into that culture. That you can't. You got to first of all, you got to fit into a culture. Some of these
All
messy
right,
pro.
so I'm
Some,
gonna I'm gonna
go ahead.
I'm gonna lead you into another one. I know you can talk about this
I
one
can
too
go.
here,
Let's
but
go.
yeah. So in the whole recruiting thing, um, talk about colleges, the difference in the advantage or disadvantage some colleges are at. When you think back on the olden days when all there really was either academic money or athletic money. And now you got NIL potential money. And then on top of that, you got some rev share, revenue sharing monies. And I made a note when I wrote this down. I said, even the old academic athletic thing is kind of thrown out the window right now too, because, back in the day, it used to be, you know, a good Division One had 12 scholarships. The ones in the minor conferences might have had eight. Okay, well now you can have 25. I think it's 24 or 25. Okay, well not every school can afford 25. So you're going to have the haves and the have-nots right there. It's going to be more dramatic than the old, well, you got 12 or you got eight scholarships, at the D1 level. And then you got NIL money. Some colleges attract a lot of sponsors that have a lot of NIL money for their players, and others don't. And I don't know how this one works either, but the rev share, some colleges have it, some don't. Even on let's pick on the P4s, the P4s
P3s.
in the softball
P3s.
world,
P3s. Go ahead.
P3s,
Go
yeah,
ahead.
those
I'm
two,
self
yeah.
kidding. Go ahead. Go
Yeah,
ahead.
the P3s, yeah, you're right. They don't all have rev share.
hmm
So, I mean, you got a different level of money. Again, go up the food chain. Yeah, yes, 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 checking all the boxes. Even within the P3s, they don't have all three of those pools of money available. So I mean, I'm going to pick on you because you got a New York Yankees hat on, but it's a New York Yankees all over again. George Steinbrenner's is going to go out and buy themselves the best team they can find. And it sort of is happening.
I mean, that's America, though, right? Capitalist.
A what?
That's America. That's the country we live in. Like you got I mean, you have teams that were not big market baseball teams, that were small market teams, middle of the country, who can win a World Series. Because what are they doing? In their farm system, they're developing. And then the Yankees are bringing in all these big dog people who the fans don't like them. They're bad for the locker room. They don't fit in. They can't handle the New York media. They'd rather play in a small place like St. Louis where there's one newspaper. New York has 50, you got 50 reporters at every game. That's for English. Then you got 30 for Spanish speaking. You got
Yeah.
it's a media thing, right? So if you have people who
But
just play
let
better,
me
they
ask you
play
a
better in a
question.
small market. Hmm.
Who's won the last two World Series? And did they have any money to work with?
I don't know. I haven't even watched baseball, to be honest. Who won it?
It's the Dodgers.
Well,
Okay. The
that's
Dodgers
I
are
mean
outspending the Yankees.
that's a big
So
market.
that's what's
So
happening to
LA,
your team.
so LA, New York, those are big. That's Chicago. Those are big market cities. They're major cities.
Yeah.
They have to be able to do that because that's what those people in those places want. The Bostons of the world, the Yankees have, first of all, the Yankees have how many teams? They have two baseball teams, two basketball teams, two hockey teams, three football teams. Think about it. That's New York. And once upon a time, the New York had three baseball teams: the Brooklyn Dodgers, the New York Giants, and the New York Yankees. Because New York is New York.
The
You can't
who?
compare
Dodgers.
the Brooklyn Dodgers, the New York Giants, and the New York Yankees. But the New York had three teams.
Oh, back in the day.
Yeah,
Yeah. Okay.
but that's
Yeah.
New York though,
Okay.
because you can do
I
that
was
in
going
New
to say,
York.
I thought the Dodgers moved a couple
California
of
has
years
how many
ago.
baseball teams? How many baseball teams does California have? Four, five?
Yeah.
What is it? You get it?
Oh,
So
quite a
it's
few.
and nobody's going out of business. None of those baseball teams are going out of business. They're all doing pretty good. But I think in the collegiate world, um, when you look at who has and who doesn't have, it's the same thing in travel ball. Why is it different? The biggest travel ball the biggest travel organizations are owned and run by who? The people that have the most money, and usually people who own tournaments because they have the most money. Think about it. Name the top five travel organizations in the country, and then look at who owns and runs them and how much money they have when they came into the game. It's the rich. It's not different in travel ball. You're thinking about it, aren't you? You're saying that I'm right, right?
Yeah, I am. Again, I'm going to say it's kind of hard for me to differentiate what's going on in travel ball and what's going on in college.
It's the
It's
same.
again, it's the rich get richer.
That's what it
Is that
is.
the way it should be?
It's the way it
I don't know.
is.
You're right.
I don't know.
We're
It's
in
the way
a
it is.
capitalist society. I know that.
I'm not.
Uh,
It's what it is.
yeah.
I don't know if I'm the person that should be saying should it be that way, but it's the way it is.
Oh yeah, that's no doubt about it. I guess I wish, in theory, college is supposed to be an amateur sport.
Yeah.
Okay. So in that case, I wish the playing field was more level. Okay. You get above that, that's professional sports, and that's all about it's entertainment. You're trying to make money. It's a business. To me, college sports is not a business. I know it is, but it's not. It's an amateur sport. And I think the more that we take this amateur sport and make it professional, I think it's for people like me. I watched four games this year in Major League Baseball. They're all in a World Series. Other than that, I could care less. I don't watch pro basketball. I don't watch pro hockey. Uh, who else do I? Football. If it's the Green Bay Packers are playing, I'll watch. You go outside of that, and I don't watch because primarily I hate the rich get richer scheme up here of pro sports,
Well, it's the same thing in travel
and
ball.
it's going to make me like
It's
college
this,
sports less and less and less.
and it keeps trickling down.
Well, you talked earlier. I'm thinking,
I could throw
like
a big, I
like
could throw a huge party and invite all the top college coaches to my party at NFCA, right?
oh sure.
And I don't know what goes on. Hey, I need you to take 4 or 5 of my kids as a favor, and then I'll give you my
Yeah.
top. Then I'll give you more of my top kids.
Oh,
I don't know that that
you
does not
talk
go.
about the horror stories of that in
I don't
AAU
know that that does not
basketball
go on,
years
but
ago.
it still comes down to
Yeah.
money. It does. It's just money. That's the way this whole world works.
In theory, the word amateur should not be equated to money, right?
In theory, everything is equated to money.
I know I was in business.
This is where we at, man. This is the world we're
Yeah,
living in right now.
I was in business before I got into this crazy passion of
Hmm.
softball. But yeah, um, a question, another one for you.
Hmm.
I'm doing the interviewing here, aren't I? I'm the host
You
podcaster.
good. You
Yeah,
good. I'm
yeah.
loving it
Okay.
because you know me. Look, I'm not running for mayor. You don't already know. I'm gonna just tell you the truth. I don't really care. I ain't worried about who cares. I ain't worried about who mad. Because
Yeah.
I could care less.
Okay. So,
Go ahead.
you had, the this year's recruiting fall season, September 1st.
Yeah.
I'm going to say it's come and it's partially gone. I would guess 2/3 of it is over with for the all the kids. For your kids, what kept? How many kids did you have that were disappointed? Didn't get contacted by their dream school? Or
So
how many kids did you have that were absolutely elated because they got contacted by their dream school?
so
Or
so
not just contacted,
I'll
but
tell you
probably
this.
got an offer.
I'll tell you this, right? I think that we have a more realistic perspective on the recruiting process because what people fail to realize is that as the student athlete, you don't determine who you are in the college recruiting process. The colleges do. The coaches will tell you who you are. They will tell you who you're good enough. Oh, you didn't get you get any P3 schools? Nobody from the SEC contacted you? Then you're not SEC. Because if you were, they would have. You'd be killing it. So perspective, right? Perspective. Stop going on the internet and comparing yourself to other people. Your journey is your journey. Some of you have not even done the work. You're not posting, you're not sending out emails, you're not doing your due diligence and marketing yourself. You're
Is
not
that the number one
and you're
reason why the
you're
kid
not
is disappointed?
and you're not getting those schools to come see you play. But if a school wants to come see you play, the kids that are getting recruited at those levels, multiple schools at that level are recruiting them because that's who they are. They're attracting those types of schools. And you're not. So maybe you're not that. So let's stop. If you're hitting in the 8 hole for your travel team, why are you going to a camp at University of Florida? That's delusion. That's delusional.
I
So
always wanted to go to Florida.
I'm glad you always wanted to go to Florida. But come on,
Yeah.
y'all. Come
No
on.
offense, Tim. I love Tim.
We
I'm
got to
just
stop
using
it.
the name.
We got to
Yeah.
stop. We got to stop with
Yeah.
with the delusion and be real. So we tell a kid in a minute, you're not D1. Sorry. Here, those schools that you have on your list, you can't play there. Let's take all 7 of those off. These 3 over here are a lot more realistic, and schools that are similar to those schools are more realistic for you. And somebody has to tell them the truth. It's not fair to have all these parents flying around, going to all these camps when you're not good enough. And you won't put in the work to become good enough. So for the amount of work that you're putting in and where you currently are, that's never going to happen for you because you refuse to put the work in. Now, if you would put the work in, those schools could be a shot. But that's now I'm telling that to 2030s and 2029s. I'm not telling 2027s that.
Well, it comes down to it. Is the kid any good or not?
Well, there's a school for everyone. It's are you good enough for those schools?
Right.
Because maybe you're good enough for Division 2. Maybe you're good enough to be, you could be an All-American at Division 3, and sit the bench in a lot of D1s. So you got to look at where you are and say, these schools um, are more of a match for me athletically. Those schools may match you academically, but if they don't match you athletically, then you're going to have a hard time. And I'm not the guy that's going to go lie in the school talking about, oh, I got one when I don't got one.
Yeah. You don't want to be a used car salesman
I've
for
never
sure.
done that. I've never done, and I never will. Maybe 7 or 8 times in my life, I've gotten on the phone and was like, yo, I got one. 7 or 8 times, and I'm 8 for 8.
Yeah.
Whatever it is, 7 for 7 or 8 for 8. Because I'm not jumping out there. And I'm basing that on the kid, how long I've known them, the parents, how long I've known them, and I can speak to their character. And I bet on that kid. That maybe happened 8 times in my whole entire career.
You know what my favorite call is when a college calls me and asks me about a kid? My favorite line is when I say this, and I mean it when I say it. I said, "You're going to think I'm this kid's dad."
I totally can.
Uh,
I totally can.
I mean, that's when you're feeling good about a kid.
I can relate. I can relate to that.
Yeah, yeah.
Hmm.
But I don't say that about every kid.
Nope.
Yeah, I think it would be unfair for a coach to promote their kid at a level higher than what they can really compete at. I know in my case, I don't want to send a kid off to a college where I know she's going to be the number 4, 5, or 6 pitcher on the roster.
Okay, ready?
You
Ready for
know?
this? Ready for this?
Yeah,
If you are a SEC pitching coach,
yeah.
top what's the you're going to see if you're going to go recruit a pitcher. You're going out to go recruit a pitcher. You know she's good, but what's the one thing? She's already good. What is the one thing that you're going to say? We're taking her. We're offering her. She's number one on our list. The one thing.
It's do I think I can make her better? Is she as good
She's
as
already
she's
good.
ever going to be today, or has she still got upside?
Ooh, I like that one. That's a good one. And for me,
Yeah,
and then for me on the hitting side, she's already good. I'm looking at her chase rates because if she's chasing high school pitching, she has no shot in the SEC. If you if high school pitching is
oh, for
fooling
hit, you're
you,
talking about for hitting. If they're chasing pitches
for me, yeah,
and
for hitting,
missing, yeah.
right? For me, for
Hmm.
hitting, that's the one. She's already great. She's already good. Everybody loves her.
Hmm.
I'm looking at chase rates.
Hmm.
If she's chasing high school pitching, if she's chasing travel ball pitching, she don't got the eyeballs for this level. If we're talking
Yeah.
SEC, if we're talking SEC, she don't got the eyeballs.
Hmm.
If that's fooling you, wait till you get over here. And every time we play a game, you're facing a pitcher with an ERA of 0.
Yeah, yeah,
I'm not wrong.
yeah,
So
yeah.
that would be
No,
my criteria. Yeah.
yeah, I'd go back to that. Has the kid still got upside?
Yeah, I like that.
Is
That's a good one.
because is this kid as good as she's ever going to be?
Mm,
You know, um, and there's some kids that are fabulous, juniors, seniors in high school. You know, have they got room for growth?
mm-hmm,
Could it be, it could be, you could look at it and say, boy, we get that kid in a legit strength program. Boy, this kid's
mm-hmm,
going to really develop. Or,
mm-hmm.
boy, if I could add another pitch to this kid's arsenal or another speed, you know, have they still got room up here? Because if they are here and they stay here, well, they get to college pretty soon. There's a whole bunch that are going to do this to them. Or either that or they're just going to do this, one or the other. So, yeah. Um, I will tell coaches this also when they call, and it's only if I feel it. This kid has still got a ton of upside.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. If I think a kid's probably as
Yeah, I
good as
like
she's
that.
ever going to be,
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I'm not going to say, oh man, this kid is going to gain another 4 miles an hour when she gets to your college.
Mm-hmm.
I do have kids that I know for 100 reasons haven't quite got to where they could have, would have, should have been at this age, and there's upside.
Yeah.
Now, if I'm a college coach, I'm going to look at good old Rick Pauly or Rob Cruz and say, well, why hasn't she achieved that upside? And I will have the answer for it.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes it's a little bit telling, like, that gets distracted with too many things outside of softball. If this is taking too much of her attention away from her ability to practice or her ability to get in a weight room or whatever. So I think when you say that, you better be ready to say, the best reason would be is the kid just went through a growth spurt. She just grew 4 inches in the last 2 years, and her muscles just haven't grown caught up with
Mm-hmm.
her.
Mm-hmm.
That's the kid that legit, I would say, has got upside. Because that kid we would hope would still, be a hard worker.
So you know what I know what I'm gonna say to you real quick? I would say this. I was talking to my team Sunday, and I said to them at the end of it all, at the end of the weekend, and we learned a lot this weekend. We learned a lot. We're down in Dallas, Texas, at the Top Gun event. We learned a lot. And I said to them, I said, do you know what I do for a living? Because this is what we do for a living, and then there's what we really do for a living. There's two things. There's two things. Like people say, oh, I do this for a living. But then there's the question, what do you really do for a living, though? Within the context of what you do. So what I really do for a living is I see a person where they are, and then I also have to have the foresight to see them where they're going to be. And then I have to take them there and guide them there. That's what I really do. Because a teenage kid, a teenage girl is looking at their current situation and where they are right now in that moment. And what do their emotions tell them? And what do their thoughts tell them? What do their feelings tell them? But as the master teacher, as the master coach, as the master mentor, we have to be able to go 2, 3, 4 years beyond where they are currently and say, this kid has, because I've seen it 150, 200, 300 times. She can be here. Let's chart the course and let's get her there. That's what I really do. I have to be able to see where you can be. I can't just see where you are. And it answers that question with the development people and the non-development people. Non-development people do not have that gift of seeing beyond what's in front of them with an athlete. They either have to be good enough right now or I'm not taking them. They can't be someone who I can identify upside. Most people can't. See how you said that? What you said was great. You went off upside, but most people can't see beyond what's in front of them in the present
I
moment.
know it. I know it. I know it.
And
I
you
know it. No, that,
can.
that was,
That's
you're
why you're
driving me
good.
up the wall saying that.
That's why
Yeah.
you're good. You're good because you have the
God.
ability to do that. Most people,
Yeah.
it's not their fault. They just don't
Yeah.
have the ability to see, well, she's this, she's that. I know she's this. She's 15. I know she's this and that. But
Yeah.
you can't see beyond her 50. You got to be For me, sometimes I think it's ridiculous, but then I have to stop myself and say, well, everybody doesn't have that gift, Rob, to be able to look at someone where they are and see where they're going. As a person, forget about
Yeah.
softball.
What
Forget about
what
softball.
what could
Even
they
as a
what could
person,
they be? Yeah. Yeah.
and we
No.
sometimes I think we take it for granted that we have that ability when that's not something that's not the gift that everybody has. But in this
But you know
business,
what, Rob? I'm
yeah,
going to pick on us too. You
hmm
and I, we're with that kid a lot. So we get to know them and we know how they tick. We've seen those flashes of brilliance and we know that, boy, a tick here, and the kid's gonna make that next jump. A college
no,
coach doesn't have that.
okay,
I don't think.
you know what?
They
So
try
so
to,
so so
but I
you've
don't
never
think they can get like we
so
do.
wait. I'm going to challenge you on that.
Okay, I'm ready.
You've never had a kid come in for the first time ever and throw 10 pitches and you're like, "Oh my God, she's going to be good."
Yeah, I had it this weekend.
Of course you did. That's what I'm talking
Yeah,
about. I'm not talking about because we spend
yeah,
every day with them. I could look at a kid take 5 swings. I'm like, "Yo." And I know she sucks right now,
Yeah.
but I'm betting on me. I'm betting on me.
Well, yeah. But those kids, when they come in, I'm saying, ooh, this kid's, let's call it a natural. Okay. This kid's got it. And
It,
then
it,
the rest of that
yeah,
lesson, I'm looking and saying, ooh, this kid is she's either as good as she's going to be, or look at these metrics and she's this good, or look at this and she's
yeah,
this good. Think of how good she could be,
yeah.
and then you're hoping, and that's when you have to spend a little time and find out, do they have what it takes, the work ethic,
Mm-hmm.
the mental
Mm-hmm.
drive or whatever, to do what it is you think they have the ability to do.
You're right. And I've had
Yeah.
kids. I've had kids that I've worked with who I'm like, yo, you could be good. But then they're not, they don't have the focus. They don't have the drive.
Mhm.
So you're a could be. But again, if I'm
Mhm.
watching a kid in this environment, in this ecosystem where they're getting on planes every weekend and going here, they got a pitcher coach, a weight training coach, a speed agility coach, a nutritionist. The parents are figure it out parents. You know, I'm like, you're gonna make it. Here's your let's do this. Here's your course. Let's chart your course. And but everybody can't do that. Because
Mhm.
sometimes I'm like, I don't know why, I don't know how coach. I'm like, yo, they recruited that and they didn't recruit this. Hmm. And then the next year, the same coaches are asking me, how come you didn't tell me about that kid? I did tell you about that kid, but you watched her and you didn't like her last year. Now she's better than the
Yeah.
kids on your team right now. That's your fault. I did
Yeah.
tell you.
I
She
hope
just
somebody
wasn't, she
else
just
picks
wasn't
her
where
up
you, right. She
she
wasn't
I
where
hope
you,
she kicks your butt.
right. She wasn't where you wanted her to be when she was 15.
Yeah.
That's
Uh,
you. That's a you thing. That ain't a me thing.
yeah.
I knew she was going to be there.
I've gone to a kind of an interesting, I think it's interesting way of, I'm big into goal setting, and all my kids at every age, I've got their speed goals and their spin goals and, their location goals, all that kind of good stuff. But um, once a kid has, kind of, got their college commitment out of the way, I
Yep.
say, okay, hey, now the hard work begins.
I know where you're going
Okay.
right now. Yep.
And I'm going to give you a goal. I'll pick a goal. Okay. So, you know me, and I love my pitch logic ball, and, we both know Casey, and he does a good job for us. And
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to say to my girl, I'm saying, I don't care about all the 15 different metrics that this thing tells you. I care about one number.
Right.
On your rise ball, how many inches does it lift? Or on your drop ball, how many inches does it drop? Okay. And tell you what, I'll say, if you don't have 15 inches of lift, I'm not letting you go to college. Now obviously that's a joke,
It's a high
but
standard, right? Yeah.
that's what I'm telling them. I say, hey, there's your goal. By the time I let you go to college, that's got to be 15 inches of lift on your rise, or it's got to be 10 inches of drop, or you got to have 25 inches of gap between your top and bottom pitch, or whatever.
And then, you know what's
But
funny?
I'm trying
Go
to
ahead.
boil it down to just one number.
So I was talking about metrics earlier, and the weapon having the ability to break down metrics goes so much deeper than having the technology. Because you can
Oh,
have the
don't
technology
don't get me going on
and
that,
I can
Rob.
have the
God,
same technology.
we'll never get done with this conversation if we start into
Look,
this one.
I laugh because people have the technology and don't know how to use the technology properly. They're
Oh
using it as a
God,
way to separate who's better than who's good. And they say, okay, you're the A plus kids, you go over here. You guys are the C plus kids, you go over there. That's not what that thing is for. That thing is to be able to say,
yeah,
here's where you are. I have a measurement. Is it effective? If it's not, let's try to design a better pitch to move differently so you can get swings and misses. And on the hitting side, we were talking about Rapsodo last week. I surprised the girls and brought in Rapsodo last week. So we got Rapsodo in the cage and they're hitting it. And I'm like, look, the balls that you hit high up in the air are 53 miles per hour exit velo because you weigh a buck 05 and you don't train for weights and you're not strong. So you can't have a 25 mile an hour launch angle because you don't have the power to do that. If your exit velo is in the 70s, you can, because that ball's leaving the yard. And that same girl who had the lower exit velo with her trajectory of her swing was lower, her exit velo went up 8 to 10 miles an hour. And I said, because that's who you are. And the technology is telling you who you are. Now it's up to you to listen to it. You're going to hit the ball 10 miles an hour harder. If you hit it lower, you should be doing that then. But I think people play the comparison game, or they fall into the comparison trap. And pitchers do it, hitters do it. We're trying to be like another pitcher, or we're trying to be like another hitter. No, you have to be the best version of you. And this machine, this technology is giving you, it's us lifting up the hood of the car. You're the car, and we're seeing what's going on the inside of the car and what makes this thing really move better or work better. And for you specifically, this is where you got to hit the ball, because you hit it harder this way. And so technology in my hands is different than technology in someone else's hands, because I'm utilizing all of my tools, like you said.
You got your whole toolbox just grinding away there
with the technology.
Yeah.
And now that puts me on a different level than everybody else who has technology.
Yeah.
Whereas if I don't have enough tools, because I'm like, no, this is the way I do it. Well, go ahead. Well, the only way you're going to be able to interpret, like I can't have an argument with somebody who hasn't read as many books as I've read. We can't even have a discussion, because you're not on the same level of knowledge that I'm on. I'll be saying stuff that you have no idea what I'm talking about. So the more we can learn as coaches, the more we can grow, and then we're able to really help our athletes better. And that's why I would say the best coaches are the ones who care the most.
That's a good question.
Yeah.
Okay. Look back. I'll just pick 5 years ago.
Yep.
How much better are you today than you were 5 years ago?
I'm better today than I was 5 months ago, Rick.
Yeah.
I'm always learning.
Yeah.
And I'm always going back and
if you're
looking
not,
at.
If you're not, you're going backwards.
That's just who I am as a person.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a learner. I'm a studier. I'm a researcher. I read papers. I read studies. I don't just go in there and just start talking. And I don't care who don't agree with it. I'm not in the cage trying to get you to agree with me. I could care less. I'm trying to help these kids, and I'm using the best information I have at my disposal. And if I'm wrong, then I'm just wrong. But I know I ain't wrong. But I'm just saying, like, if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. I don't care what nobody else says. I think the problem in softball, specifically as a sport, is that everybody wants to agree. Hey, what are we teaching now in softball? What do you mean, what are we teaching? Huh? What are we teaching? I don't know what you teach. I know what I'm doing. I don't really know what anybody else is doing. But we don't all have to agree. There are so many ways that we can teach this game. Just like there's so many ways we could all fry chicken. You could fry chicken 10 different ways and have chicken that tastes great. So there's no one way.
Yeah, I kind of love my saying, and I would say, yeah, I'm probably not the same coach I was 5 days ago.
Dude,
Every kid that walks through the door is a brand new experiment in the lab here. But I look at a lot of coaches when I'm talking to them or people, and I say, you know what? The only difference between me and you, 22-year-old coach, I've already made all the mistakes.
Right.
Okay. But I would say this. I'm less likely to be wrong than somebody that hasn't put in the time. Have I ever messed up and misdiagnosed or misapplied? Heck yeah.
Have you ever heard this quote before?
If anybody said that, you'd be a liar if you said you had never screwed up.
Have you ever heard this quote before?
Which one?
We're all wrong. Some of us are just less wrong than others.
Yeah, there you go.
That's facts.
I'm gonna steal that one right there.
It's a good one. We're all wrong. We're all trying to figure it out.
Yeah.
Some of us are very wrong though. Some of us are just less wrong.
Yeah.
And I'm the first one to say when my girls come in, yo guys, remember what we were doing last fall? Maybe I wasn't wrong, but I have a better way to do it.
Yeah.
I found out there's a better way to get to the inside pitch, or that we could be driving the outside pitch, or whatever it is. Like, let's try that. And like, oh yeah, I see. Yeah. And it's always a progression. It's a progression from what we were doing then to what we're doing now. That's all it is. So
Well, fun stuff to talk about again, huh?
yeah, this was a good one. This
We're
was
gonna
a good
have
one.
to do this after convention, when we get to walk through the vendor
So
show booth area.
just so
And
you know, Rick, I'm going to be
yeah,
in the booth in Vegas for Rapsodo in the cage, like demonstrating the Rapsodo machine on how I use it.
okay,
They're gonna mic
yeah,
me up and put the headphones on me and everything. And then I'm also gonna be in the cage, mic'd up for the Max BP machine people. So I'm
for
going
the
to be talking
who?
about Max BP. It's a little machine that throws these little tiny balls. Um, I use it for vision tracking, pitch recognition, and decision making.
Yeah,
But it has a lot of really cool features. And what's cool about it is that it's a small machine and you can use it in an indoor space. You're not going to break mirrors and windows and stuff.
what's it do? Throw little ping pong balls
Golf
at you,
balls,
and
and
you're
you could throw
gonna
like you could do left-handed curve, right-handed curve. I mean, there's different colors. I mean, it's pretty good.
yeah,
It's pretty innovative. I like it. So I'm gonna. I don't know the schedule yet, but I'm gonna right now. I'm gonna try to figure out how I can do both. I don't know that I'll have time or energy to do both because that place can exhaust you.
yeah.
You get exhausted. But excuse me. But I'm gonna
Yeah, well,
try.
we're going to we got to talk about all the new technology, assuming there will be some
Yeah.
that's at the show.
Hmm.
I've got a couple booths in particular I'm going to stop at just because I've heard about their technology, and it's got me curious.
Yeah.
So
Me too. I'm gonna try. I always that's my favorite part is to walk around and see what's new and
yeah,
ask the people their thoughts on the product. There's a new shoe company out who contacted me. Apparently, this particular shoe aligns the feet in the shoe to absorb and create more ground force in the energy transfer process. And a lot
sure.
of minor league baseball players are using it. They're going to send me a pair. I'm going to try them out. I'm going to try them out myself, but I'm going to also have a couple of my hitters try them out.
Hmm.
And then so I'll do like, okay, let's get some exit velo with the shoes, with your regular shoes on. So
Yeah, with it, without, yeah.
right. So they have a turf, they have a molded version of it, and they have a metal version. So MLB is already all over it. Um, Perfect Game has gotten involved, the baseball showcases, and they're trying to make a splash in softball. They're going to be there. I'm going to try to see if I can make my way over there and kind of ask some questions. But I think that's something that, I'm always looking for different things and different ways to help people
Well,
get better.
it would be really interesting to see the metrics.
Me too. That's why I asked them to
Yeah.
send me
Well, and
some because I got to see. I
if
mean, you
you
could
were only going to use one metric to determine if they were good or bad, what would it be?
exit
Just
velo
you only get one.
for hitting
Yep.
exit velo
There you go. Yeah.
without a doubt.
Hmm.
And then I would reverse engineer exit velo backwards to figure out how they got to that exit velo, which I've already done. We've had these discussions already on. If you haven't heard me
Yep.
talk about that, go back and listen to Rick and I's older podcasts, and I break down the 4 or 5 things that every hitter that hits the ball hard and has the highest bat speeds and acceleration rates all do to achieve that. They all do it. And we
Hmm.
have ways that you can measure it. So,
Cool.
so
All right. Good talking
this is
again,
a good
man.
chat, man. Well,
I'll see you at the convention. I'm sure when you come by and see me, you probably have a Starbucks in at least one hand, right?
I will bring you some Starbucks. I mean, if they have Starbucks in Vegas, do they even have it?
Well, maybe you have to bring me a cocktail then. I guess I know they got that in Vegas.
We'll figure something out. We'll figure something out.
Yeah.